Hello, my name is Maris Masellis, and welcome to my show, Critical Root Zone, where we dig deep with inquiring minds to get to the root of sustainability, going below the surface to rebuild trust while supporting all voices on our journey to a climate-positive planet. For the following 4 episodes series, we'll be talking to Tennessee House Representative Bob Freeman. Bob has a degree in construction management from Middle Tennessee State University. He got his master's in sustainability at Lipscomb University, VP at Freeman Webb. He served on the board of the Tennessee Environmental Council, Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, Metro Sustainability Advisory Committee, and more. Too many more for me to say because it would just be a lot of words. Bob is my friend who I trust. He's a loving husband and a great dad, and we share a love for martial arts, which you'll know more about later. So you might ask, why do we want to talk to this guy, Bob Freeman? Well, I'll tell you. After years of doing my own personal research and life improvements to do my part to protect Mother Earth, I truly believe that the only way to create lasting, unified change is through policy. We're going to discuss the ways in which this happens, the process, and how my generation and those to come can feel empowered and heard. So without further ado, welcome Bob to the Critical Root Zone.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so pumped you're here. Like
Me too.
I could jump out of my seat, actually.
We've been talking about this for a while, so I'm excited to finally be here to kick it off.
How long ago did we meet? Maybe 6-8 months ago? It was a while ago.
I think longer ago than that, but yeah, sure.
Holy crap. Well,
Yeah.
Now we're in the flesh.
Yes.
We're in the studio, and we're talking about our favorite stuff, which
That's right.
I mean,
sustainability. Yeah.
And thank you so much for being here.
Again, thanks for having me.
You got a big schedule, and it's been tough even to just like communicate a little bit on how we're gonna get here and what we're gonna do here. But we got some really exciting stuff coming up for everybody. 4-part episodes. We're gonna talk today about us, about you, and how you got to be where you're at today. You're a Tennessee House Representative. Mm-hmm. What the frig does that mean?
That's a great question, and it's different to most people. I am government to everybody that knows me. I am their state rep. I'm a congressman. I'm a senator. I'm a governor. I'm a Metro Council member. I am their connection to government because we, by and large, have a population that doesn't really understand how politics works.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And we need to do a better job of educating people on exactly what it means to be a state rep, why it's important for people to vote for these people, why it's important for people to pay attention.
Bingo.
I mean, you talked about it earlier. It's policy. And these are people that make major policy decisions for our whole state. And those policy decisions can have a long-lasting impact that can carry over 20, 30 years. And but your direct question was a state rep. So I serve in the Tennessee State House of Representatives. It's essentially Tennessee's version of the U.S. Congress. There are 99 of us. We all represent 70,000 people. And we just went through a redistricting area, so my district shifted a little bit, but it's a great honor, and it's a super important place that more people need to understand what we're doing.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because education is a huge part of why I want you here and why we're talking today, is to really kind of simplify these things that we're all like, too much. I don't even want to bother figuring that out. But how long have you been a House representative, and how do the terms work?
Yeah, so I've served for 4 years, 2 terms. Each term is 2 years. So you're running every 2 years, just like you would in the U.S. Congress. So every time there's a statewide race, I'm on the ballot if I can represent you. And so it's, and I'm running again.
You got one coming up.
I got another one coming
in
up.
August.
Yes.
Hey, I knew that.
I know. I like it.
And we'll talk more about that too, because I kind of want to give everyone perspective on federal, state, and local elections, and kind of how to map that out in simplest terms, if we can, because it's a lot of information that we're going to like literally stick all together.
Yeah.
But besides that, you and I met at Tennessee Environmental Council, at an event where I think that was just the beginning for me because I'm now on the board.
Right.
You were on the board.
Yes.
So I'm following in your footsteps.
Yes.
And it's great. I love that. I love that we met there. And we had a connection with martial arts.
Yes, we did.
So true or false, you're a jiu-jitsu master these days.
Master is a pretty bold term.
What's your belt?
I'm a brown belt. I will test for my black belt at the end of the year.
That's the master, isn't it? Or is it purple?
It's black belt is a top, but I think maybe you could. I tell the joke. I competed in Old Man Worlds, which is called Masters Worlds, and Masters is just a polite term for anybody over 35. So
okay, but not only is he a House representative, he will kick your ass too.
Yeah. Yes, I
But
could.
I love that, and you came to Hotbox, the gym that I manage, Hotbox Nashville.
Yeah.
You've been to Hotbox before, so we had this really cool connection. We ended up chatting. I think I hit you up on Facebook once about a parking ticket.
Yes, you did. Yes, yeah. As again, and I am government to everybody. So
you
that
are
was
government,
that's
and
it.
I didn't know. I didn't even know back then. I was like, wait, who is this guy?
That's right.
Like, what is he really doing out there in Tennessee?
Yeah,
I've got an issue.
Right.
No. And I know you've got a beautiful, great wife, and she's doing some cool stuff.
So my wife is the president of the Sexual Assault Center.
Yes.
It's been her only job. She started when she was in graduate school here as a therapist, and then just worked her way up. And the work that they do is absolutely amazing. And she's actually one of the reasons that I decided to run in the first place, because I would hear her tell stories of talking to legislators about pretty major policy issues and their understanding of what victim blaming is and what rape and sexual abuse looks like and what consent looks like was so old and so broken that I felt like we needed to give a voice to those people that are voiceless. And so that's one of the greatest things that I get to do is advocate for victims of rape and sexual abuse at the state level and try to change the minds of many of these people.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So I've got issues. I'm gonna go out there and find me a House representative. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But that's part of it. Like you have to meet these people. You have to meet the legislators that represent you and tell them what's on your heart and what's on your mind and what you want.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's part of the game.
We're a representative government. And so the person that you send up to represent you should represent your values. And if you're not, there's going to be a person in that seat. And so whether you engage and pay attention and help get the right people elected or not doesn't change the fact that there's going to be someone in that seat. And so by the people under 35 don't vote. It's just the percent of people under 35 that are voting is super low. The percent of people over 65 that vote is super high.
Yeah.
So we are allowing those 65 and older to decide who our representatives are. Their values may not align with ours.
Right.
They may have completely different belief set when it comes to environmental issues, when it comes to rape and sexual abuse, when it comes to
abortion,
when it comes
marijuana,
to on and on. I mean, we could do this all day.
Yeah.
And if you are not voting, you are letting someone else make these decisions for you. I used to give a speech to high school kids, and I would talk about how who likes pineapples on their pizza, and nobody would raise their hand. And I would show a poll that showed the majority of people 65 and up like Hawaiian pizzas. They like pineapple and ham pizzas. And so by you not engaging in the electoral process, you are allowing them to pick Hawaiian pizzas for you every day. And that's what you're going to get. And you can complain, but complaining about it after the fact is not effective. You've got to be part of the process.
And what you're saying too, something that we're going to talk about in another episode is voting for policy.
Sure.
Versus
party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because something I realized was everybody my age knows when to vote for the president.
Right.
Everyone knows when that is. And Biden won by landslide because millennials, we took charge and we're like, now we're going to vote for who we want to vote for.
Right.
But that was it. Then it's like, oh, well, what happens the rest of the year? You know, like that's it. Done.
Well, and I would even say that voting for president is quite possibly the least important vote you can cast. Voting for your Metro Council member, voting for mayor, voting. We just had a slate of judicial races that
Yep.
most people had no idea.
The primary. And I'm embarrassed because I didn't know.
Right.
And this is something that I'm trying to seek more and I'm trying to learn more. And I had an older friend hit me up and be like, hey, the primary, go vote today. And I was like, well, shit. Like okay. And then I'm online. I'm like, okay.
Trying to figure it out.
And then he's like, here, let me send you this email. And it was 2 pages long of all these names. And I'm like, there's no way. And then I'm texting other people, hey, who did you vote for this? Or like, what do you know about this person? And I tried to get as much information as I could. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to do this to myself today.
Right.
But I am going to research now. Okay, when's the next one? Because now I know that there's 3 primaries. Is it 3 this year?
Well, yes, there'll be another. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, there will be another primary in August, but that will be the general for these judicial races. So
Again, like that's. I mean, and then I see there's judges. There's different positions that. I see the names outside.
Sure.
I see them everywhere, but what do I know about their system? What do I know about their beliefs?
You have no idea. I mean, voting based on signs is what they're hoping, and a lot of these people running for office are hoping we have low information voters that are going to recognize your name from a sign, recognize their name from a sign or a mailer that you got. Yep. You're going to show up and push a button and vote for them. And you never have any idea who they really are, what they stand for, what they're going to do.
But I always,
I tell people all the time, vote for the office closest to you. So your Metro Council race, make sure you're paying attention and vote. Your state house race, make sure you're paying attention and vote.
Right.
Your state Senate. Congress is important, but there's so many congressional members that one person can't really do that much. There are 40 Metro Council members. There are 99 State House members. So one vote in the State House can actually have a much louder voice than you would think.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to sustainability. Let's reel it back in, because that is why I started this podcast, is to talk about the deeper rooted issues and challenges that we face with climate crisis and with sustainability as a whole. And I think policy is the ultimate answer.
That's
because
right.
I've been that person the last couple of years trying to talk to people, hey, you should compost, hey, you should recycle, and I can't engage with them. And they're like, it's so hard. There's nothing here that's making it, there's nothing in this that gives me any direction or helps me, or, it's time, it's money, it's extra effort. You've got kids, you've got a job, you've got this. Nobody has the time to do this. So it's, I feel like this is my personal fulfillment to just, this is how I'm making sense of my journey here on planet Earth.
Yeah.
But sustainability, right? So what is it to you? And, how did you get cultivated in that?
So, well, I'm gonna add one more thing to what you just said.
Yeah.
A lot of people think of sustainability in the terms of recycling and, composting. And if you look at the old saying, it was reduce, reuse, recycle. The first is reduce.
Reduce.
And that's the most important part, right? Is that we need to reduce our carbon footprint. We can solve some of those problems by reusing and recycling, but the first one is we need to start reducing. We need to start removing these false choices from our system. We need to only be able to purchase recyclable cans. We shouldn't even be able to buy something that has to go to a landfill. It should only be given positive choices.
Meaning those producers should be held accountable / it should be regulated.
Which should be policy.
Policy.
That's back to your original point. And how I got involved was I have always been an environmentalist and outdoors person, was engaged on a couple of different boards just because I wanted to figure out how I could give back. And the TEC, SACE, and Southern Alliance for Clean Energy. And I started talking to our state reps about property assessed clean energy, or PACE financing. And when I went up to go talk to them, they just glazed over, had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah, what is that?
So property assessed clean energy is you can get additional lending on a facility to bring it up to a higher environment energy,
more efficient,
reduce the energy footprint. And the way it's usually done is if you've got a loan of $100,000, you figure out what the note on the loan is going to be over a period of time, and that that dollar amount to on the debt service is equal to or less than the energy savings that you'll receive through the improvement.
So it's it's an incentive.
It's an incentive,
Yeah.
and if done properly, it should have a zero-sum change to someone's monthly payment, but it'll reduce their energy footprint.
Nice.
And so the city and state is incentivizing people to make smart decisions for upgrades of their facilities,
Yeah.
both houses and
Hell
commercial
yeah.
spaces. And when I did that, gave a similar speech, the only questions that they asked were, where do the bankers fall on it? Where do the lenders fall on it? And they just wanted to understand how lobbyists felt. And I said, well, that's great, but they have a completely different interest than what you should have, which is the next 25, 30 years of Tennessee and what's best for Tennesseans. And they just didn't get it. And so
it sounds like money. It sounds financial always.
It was partially, but I think there's just so much. There's so little bandwidth to understand really what they're dealing with that they couldn't really get it. And so, anyway, that's part of one of the reasons that I actually initially decided to run for office. But
they stomped on that idea, so it didn't go through, right?
It was defeated.
And so what was your next step?
I ran for office.
Oh,
and
okay,
then I ran it myself, and we passed it.
Yeah, you did.
And then it's being rolled out in cities right now.
Yes.
So.
And that's exciting. I want to probably link that in the episode so people can look that up. But and you got 3 kids. You got 3 kiddos.
Yeah.
That
12,
has
9,
to change.
and 6.
12, 9, and 6. That has to change your heart a little bit if you have kids out there thinking about their future and what you're going to leave for them.
Sure.
We can't blindly walk through this life just thinking, the next person will deal with it. It's our responsibility right here, right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like, having kids, does that make a bigger...
Of course. I mean, you have children and you start thinking about more than just yourself. And, your life is, 90 years. Theirs can be, my 6-year-old can live for, another 100 years. So
right.
It's crazy to think about how decisions we make today are going to affect him 30, 40 years down the road. And quite frankly, individual decisions that you and I make or some of the people that listen to this make are not going to move the needle. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
You can completely lower your carbon footprint to zero. You can walk everywhere. You can grow all your food. You can, harvest all your own water on site through rainwater.
But you should still do all these things. Do all these things.
No, you absolutely should. But the impact of one person in a private jet or one person in a polluting pickup truck or one person that heats their pool all winter or all of these other decisions that you don't have the ability to impact completely wipe it away.
Yeah.
And so we need everybody to make good decisions, but I go back to, we've got to have good policy decisions where there aren't bad decisions. We should not have to interpret what is the least environmentally impactful item that we're going to buy.
Exactly.
We should only be presented with non-impactful choices.
Man, and that's a perfect segue to our next episode because we're going to talk about how Bob and I are going to get more into policy, and we're going to talk more about how to turn desire and passion into action. So stay tuned for the next one, and don't forget you can shoot me an email at criticalrootzone@gmail.com on topics you're interested in, guests you dig on my show, questions, comments about the podcast, or even a personal question from me because I want to hear from you because your voice definitely matters. So until the next episode on CRZ, just remember to ask questions, inspire others to be better, and anything is possible when we do this shit together, right?
That's it.
Yeah. All right, take 2. See you next time. Thank you for listening to Critical Root Zone. If you'd like to reach out, email us at criticalrootzone@gmail.com. Critical Root Zone is produced in Nashville, Tennessee, copyright 2022.